Hello everyone, welcome back. Part 2 of my display cases. A lot has happened since I recorded part 1. That was back in April. I thought we were going to get the display cases out of the way in the first part of April. It is now mid-July. And I've had 2 operations since then. Anyway, coffee today, courtesy of British Railways. Anyway, without further ado, we'll get on and get through the rest of the cases. I think we got 5 to get through. As before, we'll start on top. See what's on top of these display cases. This is my little St. Swithin's diorama, and I use that to experiment on various scenic techniques and one thing and another. Gradually I'm getting it done. Some non-operating display models up here. What's the temperature today? 22. The brown box down there dates back to the Second World War, cardboard box. I used it as a camera case. And a few more things way on down there. So, case number 7. Top shelf is British freight rolling stock and my guardsman's. Second shelf, again British freight stock. This is all my tank wagons. Most of these on the front, the SO1s here. These are all model kits and the BP one. Next shelf down, more Triang. Now in here I have, get these out of the way, 3-car DMU. Forget which one this is. Couple of 6-inch Triang coaches. They are gorgeous in their own way. They don't run at all well. The wheels aren't even round, so they bump along. Anyway, 4 Lima Mark III Intercity for my HST. Coming on down, there's 2 more of those in the back there, and then my Royal Air Force Commemoration Class 156 here. Back in there, Warwell, and my little Ruston and Hornsby. Incredible little machine, this. Beautiful. Anyway, that's got itself a army vehicle to handle. Bottom shelf, my Class 142 in the livery it was in 1986 when one of these came to Canada for Expo 86 in Vancouver, and I got to ride one on some incredibly rough track. Many people absolutely hated these things for the way they rode on the English track, but I tell you, if you tried it on the Canadian track, you'd think they were luxury on the British track. In the back there, hard to see, let's have a look and see if I can pull these out of the way first. My Connex, I'm not sure what that is, a 456 or something. 465 maybe. Anyway, that's third rail EMU, and my, I'm looking at what I'm doing and not watching where the camera goes. This is my my Triang 2-bill. I had that brand new, probably around 1961 or 2. and 3-car DMU here. DMU, for those that don't know, and EMU, that's diesel multiple unit and electric multiple unit. Okay, on to the next case, my Virgin DVT driving van trailer. Great Western coaches. I think all the rest of that shelf is Great Western coaches. Colic coaches. And way back in the back there, Clerestory roof coaches. Coming on down, we have my Southern Region BR coaches. And the Blood and Custard there, and in behind that 4 Gresleys, teaks. Not so steady on the ladder today. Now in here behind the 1 Class 66, thank you Mr. Railway Newbie for that one, I have 4 Hogwarts Castle coaches, Mark 1s, for my Hogwarts Castle train. And back over here again, Blood and Custards, 4 of those there. Working on down, I have my City of Salford. Let's see if we can get in close on this one. Gorgeous loco. That's a nice one from Hornby. And in behind that I have 8 Airfix Mark II coaches. And on the bottom shelf, that's a Gresley teak coach painted up in the Blood and Custard, and another one of them in maroon. And in the bottom here on the front I've got 3 Great Western Railway 4-wheel coaches and 3 Southern Railway 4-wheel coaches. Behind those, my Virgin Mark IIs, and if I can carefully get these out of the way, I have some very nice LMS coaches. I think these were Airfix or mainline, maybe mainline, but 3 very nice coaches there. Now, as mentioned in part 1, I am really using these cases more for storage than display. But case number 9, I do have the locos arranged somewhat in the display. So my B17, behind that my V2, just see the nose there of my Hornby Doublo Duchess of Atholl, and my King class. Moving down, my J94, my class 22 I believe that is, and the first of my A4s, that was the first one I got. My City of Truro back there, and my Caledonian 040, and my Sparrowhawk A4. That one came from Dave Howarth. Thank you, Dave. It runs nicely now. Moving on down, we're going to go through this one quite quickly. In the back I have a Hornby 08, and then a whole bunch of princesses, trying princesses here, and just skipping over those quickly because I do plan to do a video about those at some point. And there is my well-weathered trying Ginty. An L&Y Pug, Lancashire and Yorkshire. My Midland 262. Flying Scotsman. In the back, that's a Backman class 45, I think, 46. Ixion. Pete Waterman's Ixion. My gorgeous little 040 for the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway, and 2 coaches to go with it. Over here you might think this is a Tornado, but it's not. It is the right type. It's an A1 or an A2. Maybe that's an A2. Anyway, that's AH Peppercorn. And my Trang Lord of the Isles. Coming on down, my brake tender. A lot of early English diesels didn't have enough braking power. A lot of the freight wagons at that time were not fitted with brakes, and they needed additional braking power, so they built these heavyweight little wagons here with basically just for braking, brake tenders. My beautifully streamlined Triang King George the 6th, another heavily weathered Triang Dealey 04, I think. 3 Great Western locos tucked in there, a couple of pannier tanks and a 262 tank, one of my 2 Hogwarts castles, and my pride and joy A4 Dominion of Canada, along with an 042 Great Western tank. Case number 10 has been a bit of a catch-all for stuff that I've got nowhere else to put. Some of these things we've seen recently with my European rolling stock, that coach for instance. And coming down, really crammed in here, I have a whole bunch of Trang Pullman coaches. Things are rolling out of here on me. Anyway, quite a bunch of those there. Beautiful, beautiful coaches for their day, back in the mid-60s, I guess. These were built. Interior detail. A couple of British Auto transport cars here. These had doors on the end, and you could drive your car in there and transport it across the country or up and down the length of the country. Don't know whether they were used all that much. My Ontario Northland GP20. If we can get some focus on that. No, it doesn't want to focus for me. I've got to get a better camera. And another British coach. Now, getting down in the next one, some North American stuff. In the back there, we've got an FA unit, F9A, a B unit, and another A unit. And they are all linked together permanently. And here we have the 462 that Ivan built for me. Another 462 there. Can't remember the make of that one. Mantua or Bowser, something like that. And an odd mix of locos in here. Most of these run really nice, especially this one here. We had this one out quite recently running. Now the one way in the back there is a Casey Jones. And the bottom shelf mostly empty right now. Some early CP diesels. Now the final case here, along the wall here, number 11. Again, I've got it set out somewhat in the display, but there's just way too much stuff in here. Lots of CN. Some of this is fairly genuine in terms of stuff that actually appeared on the railway at one time or another, or still currently, but some of it is more in the realm of junk. My Via caboose, a couple of Via F units, and coming on down the next one. First thing we're going to look at is a red can. CP Rail drinking water. Before the advent of bottled water, CP used to can their own water for the crews. CP locos. And in the back, a black can. That one's still full. Wouldn't want to drink it though. And the very last shelf. In the back I have my little Ontario Northland train. That would be an F3 I think on the front. And a little hard to make out. You can just see the front end of the steam loco there, but that is a narrow gauge. That's a HON3 narrow gauge steam loco. And a few cars there that I built to go with it. That was the original Highland Valley Railway. Narrow gauge, that's a narrow gauge boxcar there too. Kit built. My, oh, what are these? Dash 9s or something I think. Don't know, can't remember. AC 4400s, that's what that is. And this little Union Pacific train here, this is essentially N scale. But this is a Lone Star, British built Lone Star. It's all metal, but it's got a motor in it, and it does run. And that's it for the big display cases. Well, that concludes the display cases along the wall here. I think the ones that most people are interested in. But it's not all of them. There are some that I don't think have ever been seen. So, if you've got the time, I think I do, we'll take a look at those. So, carrying on. Along the west wall, I have 3 of these cases. These were actually intended for golf balls, believe it or not. I can't imagine anybody collecting golf balls. Anyway, each one of them has again a static logo on top, and the cars inside are basically a theme. Tank cars in this one: DuPont, CN, Shell, Dow Chemicals, Roman Haas Chemicals, Cyanamid, don't know much about that one, Champion Fuels, CP Rail, Standard Oil, that's a real old one, that one. Deep Rock, again, don't know much about that one. I see we got a derailed BC Rail one. Union 76. That's a Santa Fe ATSF. Eastman Chemical Products. And a Texaco. In this one, the theme is cabooses. Santa Fe, Ontario Northland. Lots of shine on that one. That's another Ontario Northland. Atlantic Coastline, Amtrak, New York Central, Canadian Pacific, CN, Père Marquette. That's an all metal kit, all white metal. What's that one say? Pennsylvania, British Columbia Railway, another Santa Fe, BN, Silver Streak. That was a kid's toy train set. And another CN. And for the third one of these, we've got hoppers. CN, Chessie System, Chesapeake in Ohio, Virginian, Santa Fe, CP Rail, Pennsylvania. That's an interesting one. Coal Goes to War. Southern Pacific, Norfolk and Western, another C&O, Delaware and Hudson, The Rock, CN, Union Pacific, and a Virginian. Now, we've seen my dock scene before, supposedly dock scene anyway, but what we may not have seen very much of is the fact that underneath this I have a display case. One that lights up. It's a little bit bright, that light. Anyway, starting off in the corner, Grand Canyon Railway's Coke bottle. And then an Avon aftershave train. And a couple of tin plate locos. I think these are Marks. Made by Marks. Southern Pacific caboose, fairly good condition. Sorry about the light here. Maybe what I'll do is I'll turn the light out inside it. There we go. I think that's better. So now I've got the glass in the way here. I don't know how well we'll see. Pennsylvania Merchandise Service. Now the glass is reflecting, so we're going to have to do this in sort of two parts. We'll do half the shelves, and then come back and do the other half. So moving down, I've got a couple of Trang oil bottles there from Trang Train Sets. Some travel soap. That tin plate building there. It's missing the sign off the roof, unfortunately. And there is an annex building that goes with it. And the last time I saw one of those on eBay, the starting price was $1,600 US for that. Bit of driftwood out of the river here. I think that's a Lionel or a Marks crossing bell. Wired up, that works. O-scale telephone pole. Now I've been trying to get my ducks in a row for about 20 years. It's just not happening. An early Trang controller. This is just the rheostat and the safety cutter. Now that black box there is a Trang early controller. I had one just like this. This is not my original one, but it was just forward and reverse on the knob here with a safety cutout. I was forever popping that thing up in the air. Power was supplied by a separate transformer or a 12-volt car battery. Power went in here and out the other side. There's a piece of track. And a couple more tin plate locos. I can't remember if they run or not. They might. On the front here, not sure of the make of these things, but these are true to scale. And true to scale, they don't fit onto HO00 track, because HO00 track is not to scale. It's not 4 feet 8.5, but that is 4 feet 8.5 in scale. Okay, moving on down to the bottom. We'll start over here. We've got a tin plate signal. I think that's Marks again. A CPR oil lamp. Now I do have a 12-volt bulb wired up inside there, and I did it without having to drill any holes or anything. I found a way in to get the wiring in. And it is hooked up to a transformer. Unfortunately, I cannot get at it right now to turn it on and show you. In the back, number plate for 1201. Let's move that bottle out of the way. 1201. That was a CPR engine. Actually, still is a CPR engine. It's a preserved one. That's a plaster cast number plate from the original. This bottle, by the way, is a pint bottle, and it says Leeming Dairies Flitwick. Now, that's what it says, Flitwick, but that's in Bedfordshire, England, and it's not pronounced Flitwick, it's pronounced Flitwick. I found that one day wandering around in the hedgerows. Not too far from Flitwick. Down there, a control panel from Marks. It's essentially just a switch button for turnouts, or you could ring the bell with it. Couple of plastic locomotive keys, a different metal locomotive key there, And this here, fearsome looking gadget. Some of you will know what that is. Some of you won't. British trains were always hooked up with a hook and chain. And the switchmen or shunters, not sure what they were called, they would hook them together and unhook them without stepping between the cars. That would, or the wagons, that'd be very dangerous. But anyway, that's the hook that was used. Next, a selection of spikes. The first one here is one off the Norfolk Southern. Hope I didn't cause any derailments picking that up. That came from Oklahoma. A narrow gauge spike. Another very skinny spike, rusty. But some different head shapes. Right there, there's my NAR lock. And in the back, a CN lamp. So back to top shelf again. There's our Pennsylvania Merchandise Service boxcar and a Wabash gondola. Sinclair oil. And a New York Central caboose. And in the back of there's a Hafner Streamliner caboose. Well, that's more of a combine, I guess. It's got the caboose cupola on the end and windows for passengers at the bottom. And ending up on the shelf here, another Avon aftershave bottle, locomotive, and another Grand Canyon Railway Coke bottle. Coming on down, I've got another tin plate building here, which more of a ranch building. I don't know that it would really fit with railways, but I got my Homer Simpson in there and his sister. Railway crossing, Lionel or Marks. There's a little solenoid in the bottom. If you press that button on the bottom, if you're all wired up, that'll go. Back to those. Piece of red rock. That came from Oklahoma. This weird little looking object here. Just a plug that had been drilled out of a rail when they were going to bolt rail together. That was a little piece that came out. Another piece of driftwood. And this here, not sure if I can get a good light on that. Just a piece of coral or something. Pick that up off on a beach in Hawaii. I hope I don't get arrested for that. Taking the islands away. Tucked in the back there, we've got a retirement plaque, CN, and the plaque is in the shape of British Columbia. I won't read the plaque to you. A British railway lamp. That came from Dr. Richard Paget, who I met long before YouTube, long before my YouTube days. In the back, Canadian National 2141 number plate. Again, a plaster cast off the original. Transcon. If we can see that. Lionel Trains, Transcon. Inside there is a computer game. But I don't think it's ever going to be usable unless anybody's still got something pretty much as old as a 286 computer. 286, 386, that was made way back in those days. Quite an interesting game. And that gadget there is a drill bit. Believe it or not, that's a drill bit for drilling out rail when you want to bolt it together. So anyway, I'll back off. You can see that's another one of my display cases. Now as we leave the layout room and head out past my prairie branch line, ooh, isn't that nice? Alco C424 phase 1. Anyway, down underneath here, if I can get myself down low enough, we've got another set of shelves just sitting there and loaded up with British passenger coaches. Not really a display shelf, but it's there and you can see it. Now these next two cases are going to be very difficult. I cannot open them, and so we're dealing with glare on the glass here. They open upwards, these cases. Hinges are at the top. Anyway, 40-foot boxcars. We saw quite a lot of these recently on my 1950s running session. And over here, oh, lots of glare there. I'll have to adjust on that one. Okay, a little bit of N scale up the top there. And in this one, it's all ice reefers. That's Bear Brewing. One of the first local breweries there was. Sadly, they're not around anymore. Another one from Bear Brewing. CN. Again, we saw some of these in the 1950s running session. Morel's Pride, that one was out. Pacific Fruit Express, Armour's All-Star, Ham and Bacon, Ralston Purina, Armour Refrigerated line, and so on and so forth. We'll not get into too much of that. A few things on display on top of this set of shelves. I'm hoping one day to fit this configuration into a bit of a layout. Little Lego train that my nephew built for me. I liked it so much I kept it. He's just bought his first truck now, so that's how long that one's been sitting there. Now below those I have a couple more display cases. Well, let's have a look what's in there. So here I have some Craftsman wood kits. Most of these are incomplete. Still got work to be done on them. Either that or there just isn't room on the layout for them. Now this next shelf, this has got my Rocky Mountaineer dome cars in, and locos, a Bud car, a couple of tank cars, and a few other cars. Now that shelf there serves as the interchange on my layout. Now interchange, for those that aren't familiar with the term, is where cars enter and leave the railway, as they would in a real railway. They interchange between one railway company, such as CP, exchanging cars with CN, and vice versa. and throughout North America there are interchanges. So that shelf serves as an interchange. I can remove cars from the layout there, and I can add them to the layout through there. They end up coming up onto the track here and heading off out into the layout. Down to the next one. I've got a few locos and bits and pieces here. Some of it's kind of okay. Some of it not so good. Sort of parts and repairs. Another incomplete building. That would be a beautiful building to have on the layout, but it is so big I got nowhere for it. Some locomotive shells. And I'm going to have to get more light down on the bottom one here. Okay, down to bottom shelf on this one. A fire bucket. That came from the National Railway Museum in York. I got two of them, brought them home in my hand luggage. They didn't get bent. Got to get a bracket made and then I can hang them on the wall. In the back of there, a Craftsman kit. Very, very delicate Craftsman kit of an oil drill. What do you call it? An oil head or oil rig? I don't know. Anyway, drilling platform. Beautiful, beautiful kit. It needs a little repair. And again, nowhere for it on the layout, so just display. I have in there some very old time cars, 1860s style cars, water barrels here, and a water tower. That one's finished. Nowhere to put it. I've got two of these station stations buildings of this kind of styling on the layout. And I've got two more, this one and another one. Nowhere to put them. I need a bigger house. Now in the other one, a couple more buildings here. One is complete, the other one isn't. Still needs a little weathering on it. A Keelcraft Blackpool tram. Some boxes we've got wheels in for my B1. Haven't got around to that yet. Another Blackpool tram, a couple of San Francisco streetcars, tunnel portal or bridge, my skipjack, oyster boat, there's the other incomplete station. Oh, there's another one here. Well, this one here is a freight station, freight yard building. Couple of speeder houses. Other buildings in various stages of being built. A nice engine shed back there, wooden engine shed. All Craftsman kits, these ones. On down to the next level. Another incomplete grain elevator. I do want to get that one on the layout. I think I can find room for it. A modern day building. And a couple of old tar paper shack buildings. And that is a railway lamp. No name on that one. It's not CP or CN or any other railroad. It's just a railroad lamp. And there's some boxes in the back there. Now they are from collector edition Bachmann models. My A4 Dwight D. Eisenhower, one of those. Ixion and the B1. Now right in the bottom of the fire bucket, and behind that I've got an Atlas 1 rocket, 1/44 scale, and a Vostok rocket, 1/44 scale. These bottles here, this one here, I don't know if we can make out any of the lettering on it. Probably not. But this dates back to when the Chinese were building the railway through Kamloops, the first railway. So around the 1880s. And this one here, again, we won't be able to read the writing on there, I don't think. But this is Victoria Brewing Company. And the interesting thing is, on the bottom it says, not to be sold. Again, dating back to that time. A couple of old milk bottles. Don't know anything about those ones really. There's nothing written on them. And a lamp. Now, as far as I can make out, this is an oil lamp. Yeah, there's the oil filler. And a red glass. And this would have been hung on barricades at roadworks. It's not a railway item. Now, in another part of the house altogether, I have 3 Hudsons. These are monogram kits, incomplete. I haven't painted them, had them for years. They're like the big boy in part 1. The wheels and rods and everything all one casting, so not meant to turn, they're just display items. And over here, going way on up to the ceiling, right up there, and over, and down. This is just some of my triangle collection. There's the air conditioner cutting in. Like I say, this is just some of my triangle collection, and I hope to be getting some of this out and running it again one of these days. And as we get way down to the floor level, a little bit of Hornby 00 stuff and trying stuff on the bottom shelf. Okay, we're just about wrapping up things here now. We are now in the secret room, the one I don't show you very much of. But on the wall I have this display case, lots of British stuff, and all of this we get to see once in a while on the layout running. And for the very final case, my O scale, or 027. The shiny one, that's a Hafner. It's a clockwork, and it does run. Next one down with a New York Central tender. That's a mismatch of things. Again, a non-runner. This one here, the 242 lino lines. That one runs beautifully. And a very old SP caboose. Another caboose with no markings on it. And my final items in display cases are a powered and a non-powered Lionel FA for Union Pacific. And that's it. You wanted to know what was in my display cases? Well, you've seen them now. Well, there we go. That's been a marathon session. I hope you enjoyed that. You've been asking to see my display cases, and well, there we go. I did forget shelving up there. I had my plastic kits on. Airpix, Kitmaster, Dapple, those kits. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun, and as I say, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I didn't put anybody off. I hope some of you at least managed to get right through the whole thing, and see you again next week. And no trains on Tuesday. Bye for now, everyone.